G'day, parceros. So you'd like to visit Colombia? Well, you're not the only one. An open mind and a friendly smile are all that you really need to start experiencing the magical realism of Colombia. But in this video, I'm going to share with you a few things that you should know before your first trip to Colombia. One of the most important things if you're planning a trip to Colombia is to not underestimate the size and the sheer quantity of things to do in Colombia. We manage 240 properties like this around Bogota, Medellin, Cartagena, and Cali. We've noticed that many guests are starting to underestimate how much time they need to explore Colombia. To give Colombia a really good go, a really good feel, you're gonna need at least a month. If your time is limited, pick very carefully what activities and what places you would like to go and use the cheap national domestic flights to get around. The buses take a long time and sometimes the savings just aren't worth it. The second most common mistake made by people planning a trip to Colombia is underestimating how diverse the climates are. Yes, Colombia has the tropical Caribbean beaches, but it also has jungle and desert and high alpine desert and snow-capped mountains and beautiful springtime climates year-round in the coffee region. So depending on which of those zones you're visiting, you'll want to bring the appropriate clothing. Or just pick it up when you're here. The centro comerciales, the shopping malls, are modern and they're everywhere across the big cities of Colombia. You can get 99% of what you need and anything else you can send here through Amazon. If you're visiting the Amazon jungle or going to Tayrona National Park, you will need a yellow fever vaccine. You don't need it to enter the country and you can get it here if you didn't get it already. The cities are modern and much more developed than you might think, so your cut-off cargo shorts won't blend in too well in the cities. Which brings me to my next point. Colombia is about the same size as Alaska, and for a very long time each of these regions have been very isolated. I mean, there's two coastlines, the Amazon jungle and the Andes mountains, which divide many of these places. Each of these parts of Colombia have developed a strong subculture of their own. They have different accents, they have different foods and recipes, they have different customs and different dances, and they dress differently. In Bogota, it's a cool mountain climate, so shorts and flip-flops are really out of place. Here in Colombia, it seems that the way you dress, the way you present yourself is representative of the type of society that you come from and the type of society that you want to interact with. Yeah, shorts and flip-flops can be a very distracting first impression of who you are. And you do want to meet people. Colombians are some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet. But what if you don't speak Spanish? This is me thinking how I'm going to explain that you don't necessarily need Spanish to travel Colombia. But the microphone was malfunctioning, so here I am in my office to explain it a bit better. Not everyone speaks English in Colombia, so there's a few words that will definitely help get you started. Basic greetings and manners. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Gracias, por favor. Learning basic numbers will help when it comes to getting directions, giving directions to taxis, asking how much things are in restaurants. Cramming some last-minute Spanish on the plane on the way here will definitely be worth it. If you're stuck, look around. Colombians are super friendly and super willing to speak English or help communicate with you so you can get whatever you need to get done. If that doesn't work, it's time to escalate to charades, have a bit of fun, use your hands, use your body to try to explain what you're trying to do. If that doesn't work, there's always Google Translate, so don't let the language barrier get in the way of you experiencing Colombia. When it comes time to paying, the more formal restaurants and establishments accept credit cards. It's always good to have a bit of cash on hand. I wouldn't worry about bringing too much cash to Colombia. ATMs are pretty much everywhere. You may want to switch to an account in your home bank which doesn't charge as much for international ATM withdrawals. Do keep in mind the maximum amount of cash you can withdraw from different ATMs is about $200 to $300. If you're coming with a foreign currency, you're going to find that you have strong purchasing power here in Colombia. Most goods and services, especially ones that are locally produced and served, are much cheaper than you would expect. Restaurants, going out, health services, things like that, you're going to find a lot cheaper. Items that need to be imported to Colombia, in particular electronics or vehicles, you're going to find quite a large premium for those imported goods. There's a large informal economy in Colombia, so in areas that are taxed, you will find extra taxes and bureaucracy at times. Real estate is one of the most desirable asset classes in Colombia. Location is extremely important, so you may be surprised by some of the prices of real estate in some of the most desirable areas. Bogota, for an example, is a megacity of 9 million people. If you look at the top end of the Bogota real estate market, you'll find properties that are selling for $3,000 to $5,000 a square meter. You'll see a strong entrepreneurial spirit in many people selling things from gum to pens to toys to chocolates. The economy of Colombia is trending in a very good direction, but there are still people who are being left behind. You may also meet people who are asking for change. In Colombia, everyone seems to handle this differently, and at the end of the day, it is up to you. Some of the more common ways to handle this are by saying no gracias, in order to not train a culture of this type of asking for money. Other people prefer to directly purchase food or water to give to that person. Whether you end up meeting people like this or not, it is a very serious challenge for the development of Colombia. Speaking of serious business, cocaine and Pablo Escobar are not funny topics in Colombia. Netflix and telenovela soap operas have picked one of the most dramatic substances to associate with a country and implanted it into your brain. It's extremely irritating for the vast amount of Colombians that have nothing to do with that. If you're from England, Spain, the United States, the Netherlands, Australia, you're all in the top 10 countries that consume the most amount of cocaine per capita. A drug trade that has torn apart this country in so many different ways. Even more damaging is the policies that these very same foreign governments have been trying and failing for the last 40 years. But despite all of that, we'll treat you as a citizen of one of those countries with respect and friendliness. So do us all a favor and treat them in the same way. Over the past 20 years, Colombia has been resiliently progressing forward, and now millions and millions more people are living enriching lives. But on the fringes of this very beautiful movement, there are some unsavory characters who haven't got the memo yet. They're looking for someone who is not paying attention or presenting opportunities to extract valuables that may be worth 1 to 2 months of hard work. Conceal your valuables when you're in public and ask your concierge which parts of town should be avoided, if any. As you would anywhere else, consider a lot of general travel safety advice. In a club, watch your drinks, avoid taking a taxi late at night by yourself. There's apps like Easy Taxi and Uber that make it very simple to get a ride. Even if you're here for a few days or a week, it's worth getting a Colombian SIM card. You can get it for about $7 to $10 with some prepaid data on it, so you can keep using Google Maps to get information when you need it. Claro and Tigo are two of the companies with the larger mobile network. You gotta dance some reggaeton, some salsa, jump on board. It's the Colombian expression of joy and happiness. Get involved. Listo pues, I'm gonna leave it here. Let me know if I missed any things that somebody should know before they come and visit Colombia. If you're coming through, check out our properties in Bogota, Cali, Cartagena, and Medellin, lifepower.com/rent. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss more videos showing you what's going on here in Colombia. I'm gonna leave it to you guys to embrace your dreams, embrace your fears, embrace a life afar. My name is Sam Miller. I'm part of a group of real estate entrepreneurs that are creating turnkey investments as well as taking the Airbnb experience to the next level. It means we turn properties like this into properties like this. It's going to be a wild ride. Click the like button on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.